Previously, we talked about Lot and how he escaped Sodom with the help of two angels. And the angels ordered him to go up to the mountain and run away as fast as they could. But Lot decided to go into a small town with the original name of Bela, which means swallowed up. I don't know, very strange names. But it was renamed Zoar because Lot said, look, there's a small town. I'll go there for shelter. Is that okay with you? Do you realize that Zoar was a small town in the Shittim Valley, which later became the Dead Sea Valley? And it was right in the middle of the action. Yet God rained down fire, brimstone, all the way around all the cities of the plain except for the town of Zoar, where Lot and his two daughters were staying. That would have been very scary. But let's continue today and let's read what happened next. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld. And lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot dwelt. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his two daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his two daughters. And the firstborn said to the younger, our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. What a crazy story. And that's in the Bible. So let's unpack this.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Please excuse the reference to the old movies, but the scene actually changed back to Abraham for 3 verses. The suspense was fulfilled. Tragically, 10 righteous people could not be found. Where Sodom and Gomorrah once stood, could only be seen the smoke of the country that went up as the smoke of a furnace. Those cities were gone forever. Now back in verse 16, we read, the man laid hold upon Lot's hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his two daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. But in verse 29, we find out why God was merciful. Why was God merciful? God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, which he overthrew the cities in which Lot dwelt. God remembered Abraham. It was because of God's friendship with Abraham. That was the only reason that Lot was spared. Now we come to the part of the story that makes no sense to me at all. In verse 30, which we read, Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. Now, first of all, Lot was asked by the angels to flee to the mountain, but he refused because he feared for his life, although his safety was assured him by God himself. Then he witnessed the targeted destruction of all the cities of the plain except for Zoar, where he was located. Maybe it was the death of his wife that terrified him, but now he finally ran to the mountain after all. Maybe he thought Zoar was targeted next, or maybe the residents there were just as evil as they were in Sodom. In any case, Lot teaches us it is always better to follow God's instructions right away. But now there were serious repercussions to Lot's hesitation and disobedience. My question right now is this. It was just Lot and his 2 daughters. Instead of fleeing to the mountain to live in a cave, why didn't he just keep on going? To be with his uncle who loved him so much. But no, he didn't. Maybe it was because he felt ashamed. Maybe it was because of his pride. He didn't want to show his uncle that his uncle was right. Whatever the reason is, he didn't go. And that is what caused what happened next to befall him. You see, Lot's lack of faith was a bad example to his 2 daughters. Now, in modern English, his older daughter said, "Our father is old, and there are no men anywhere for us to marry. Let's get our father drunk with wine. Then we can sleep with him and have children to preserve our family." You know, though there was no law against brother and sister marrying, procreating between children and their parents was strictly taboo. What made them think that there were no husbands for them to marry? You see, if Lot had gone to Abraham would have found a husband from the same place that he would later find a wife for his son. Folks, Lot's lack of faith was indeed a bad example to his 2 daughters. Well, it truly is demoralizing and depraved how low desperation can drive people. Their long stay in Sodom had apparently desensitized the girls to even think of God, never mind think of their uncle. And never mind to have faith in God to provide them with husbands. What a sad, sad state of affairs. no worse than when we make our own decisions to provide shortcuts and keep God out of the picture.